Hey, 5th grade. Ready for your art class with their friendly neighborhood art teacher? Your expedition this semester was about how the changes keep coming. Your guiding questions: what makes a change maker and how can we create societal change? How have athletes contributed to social change by breaking barriers in their sport? How can I affect change on the present? And how has Amana prepared me to be the change in the future? Today, your learning targets: I can draw my portrait large enough to fill a page. I can brainstorm, and I should add, begin to color my pop art portrait. And I can evenly place my dots. Before we begin, you'll need paper, lined paper or printing paper is fine, pencil and eraser, and some coloring supplies. I don't mind if you use crayons, colored pencils, or markers. Optional is a printer or a Sharpie with a black, or just a thick black marker. Now, I'm going to kind of assume that most of us weren't able, or it seemed about half the students could get to their photo off the website, and just maybe another part couldn't get to it. So I'm going to kind of combine the first episode with this, and we'll go over it, and then we'll talk about the rest of what we're going to be doing. So, remember, you're going to be drawing big. You want this to fill up the page. A recap: our artist is Roy Lichtenstein. He was from New York. Most of his artwork was very large. He used a lot of dots and bold lines. And there's a link to the video that we watched, a little mini bio for him there. This is an example of the kind of thing we're going to be doing for your artwork. If you are unable to get yours, you're going to find your portrait in your class album. There's going to be a link to that in a few minutes. If you are able to, print out your portrait large enough to fill up the page. You can try and trace off your monitor, but again, do not press hard on your screens. And if you cannot, you can review how to draw faces with another link that I have down the road, and you can use your portrait as your inspiration. That link right there, http://art.secretproject.work/ should take you to everybody's pictures in their classes. And there's a reminder on how to draw faces. So, your end goal is going to be a pop art picture. I've told you before that you can do two types. You can do one that's very brightly colored, or you can work on one that is normal coloring. That is up to you. I do like the addition of the color pencil behind it. So if you've got marker and you want to use color pencil, that's fine. If you want to use color pencil then crayon, or we'll talk about, you can just use how hard you press down when you're making these dots. So last week, you got your picture, you printed, traced over with a dark marker, and then traced it onto a piece of paper. You should have what we've called a clean version of your paper now. You want to have as few extra lines as possible, because extra lines can make it get a little too confusing. So once you've got this dark, clean copy, take a piece of paper, fold it in half pretty evenly, and you're going to use it as your guide on where to go down and add the dots. So for mine, I usually started at the top of my forehead. I'm going to place it. You want to make sure that your paper is even. If you do it like this and you don't realize that you're doing it slanted down the row, then you're going to have, well, slanted dots. If you mess up once, you can kind of fix it on the next row. But if you just mess up, well, just keep doing the same mistake all the way down, and at least it'll look like you tried to do it on purpose. So I'm going to give myself a little bit of space up here at the top. I'm going to use this as my guide. So I'm going to draw 1, 2. I'm just going to go across till I get to the end. Now, I'm going to slide down just a little bit. This is the part where you're going to have to figure out how big do you want these to be. You don't want your next roll to be super tiny and right underneath that, because that's not going to look right. Slide down a little bit more, but at the same time you don't want to be really huge and mess it up by drawing really huge dots. So I'm going to come down and I'm going to try and fix those parts that I was messing up on purpose. It might be easier for you to try this with color pencils first, then move on to doing something with markers. Now, I'm trying to keep my dots underneath each other, but if you look, I've got a new spot right here, so there wasn't really one for up there, but there's enough space for one right there. So I'm going to keep coming down. I'll go down another row. These don't have to be perfect circles, but you don't want, little scribbles like that, because that starts to look terrible. You want to make sure they're staying close to the same size. I'm just going to keep coming down. So I'm going to come down one more time. And I'm trying to make sure they stay kind of even. And once I get to the side, you'll make sure that you do have a little bit. So, when we're looking at these, that's how I did these. Started at 1, moved down. Then I moved down. And it just kept going out. When you get to some spots, like my hair, my eyes, I just tried to keep my even lines and then figure out where it needed to be from there. Sometimes I had to skip entire parts. Sometimes I just had to draw over it with my glasses. When you get down to your nose, you want to try and keep the lines going, because the last thing that you'll do once you've gotten this part done is you can go back over with a black Sharpie or a black pencil or Expo marker if you have one. See, I can't see anything because my eyebrow's there, but I can still see from that one. I'll move down again. And I'm going to draw a little bit of one because you can kind of see that. And there, a little bit there, and down that way. I'm going to keep coming down. So that should be even. There wasn't one right there because of my eyebrow, so I'm going to have to create a new. I'm going to keep coming down. So you are welcome to color your hair solid colors. You can color your eyes. So it has said hair, eyebrows, eyes, lips, mouth. Those can stay solid colors. What I want to have is everything else dots. I want you to fill up the paper. Once you're done with the face, line yours back up and get your outside dots lined up with it. I mean, if you really want a challenge, you can try and do all the way across. But I know myself, and if I started doing purple here, I would have jumped over and started doing purple right here, and that wouldn't work because this one's supposed to be my normal color one. Plus, you don't want to blend in with your background. You guys are standing out. Make sure your picture stands out. So, you've got the real color one that you can work on, or you can come up with a pop art bright kind of colored one. So remember from Lichtenstein's pictures and his artwork, he had a lot of very brightly colored parts of his. Alright, your task today is to draw your face. Have your clean line version when you are done, and once you have that and you have your color scheme decided, you may begin with the dots. If you are unable to get a picture because I don't have one for you at all, please email me and you can send me a picture and I will turn it into the black and white version for you. If you have time, do another one. Do one that's do one that's realistic colors and one that's bold colors. Decide which one you like the most. If you have any questions, you can email me at afrans@amanaacademy.org, and you will have a turn-in Google folder on the site listed above. Alright, 5th grade. Looking forward to seeing your pictures. See you later.